Hey, look who's back. It's me, Mr. Rigo's hand. Yeah. Okay, today we're going to go over the review for Thursday, 3/26. This is a hard one. Multi-step word problems. Alright. Okay. Alright, so this is a hard one. Almost all of these are two-step problems. I think there might be one that isn't. So there's no real, there's no single way to solve these problems. For some, you might have to add and then subtract. For some, you might have to add and then divide. For some, you might have to multiply and then subtract. They're all a little different. You have to think and be really careful for every one of these problems. Okay, so just take it one sentence at a time. One step at a time. Alright. Since they're all a little different, I'm just going to jump to the last one. So I have plenty of space to show my work down here. And remember, if you don't have space to show your work, grab a piece of scrap paper so that you can. Always show your work. So, let's look at number 6. Number 6 says, Liz has a 24-inch long ribbon. Okay. She cuts 9 2-inch pieces from her original ribbon. It's 9 2-inch pieces. How much of the original ribbon is left? We're out of focus here. Let's try that. Again, Liz has a 24-inch long ribbon. She cuts 9 2-inch pieces from her original ribbon. How much of the original ribbon is left? How much is left? Okay, so blank ribbon is left is your answer statement. Well, take it one sentence at a time. This is a 24-inch long ribbon. So, draw it. It's 24 inches long. This is like the total ribbon, right? So I'm going to draw this as being part whole. This is my total right here. Now, she cuts 9 2-inch pieces. So these are a bunch of parts. They're 9 2-inch parts that she cuts from her original ribbon. And since the question is how much of the original ribbon is left, you know these 9 2-inch pieces are not going to be the whole thing because there's going to be something left. Alright? So I'm going to draw that at the bottom. And I know this is what's left. So I'm just going to label this as this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for how much is left. And here I'm going to put my 9 2-inch pieces. Now you could actually cut it up into 9 pieces and write 2's in there like a tape diagram, or you could just write 9 times 2 if you know, if you could already figure out that, well, it's 9 2's, so you could just do 9 times 2. But just to make it clear, I will actually draw the 9 2-inch pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm counting it out, so I know that I'm going to have 9 pieces here. So I count to 9, and I draw all my little pieces. And I count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, there are 9 pieces there. And I can put my 2's in there. I have 9 2-inch pieces. Alright. So now that I've drawn the model, it's really easy to see what steps you got to take, right? So we want to figure out what's the total number of pieces that have been cut first. Well, it's 2 9 times, and you could add it up, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 over and over again, or you could just do 2 times 9 or 9 times 2. Alright, so I can multiply 9 times 2 equals 18 inches, right? So I know that this length of the pieces that are cut is 18 inches. So I could redraw this, or I can just leave it as is, but I'm just going to redraw it, just for fun. So now I know that all of these together is 18 inches, and now I'm looking for what's left, right? So now it just becomes part hole, because I already figured out what all these parts together are. So now you can just subtract to find the difference, right? Because I'm looking for the difference between 24 and 18. What is this little area that's missing? And when you find the difference, you know you're going to subtract 24 minus 18. 4 minus 8, can't do it. Got to regroup. Borrow from the tens place. So I just have 1 10 left. Bring that 10 over to the ones place. So I have 14 ones minus the 8 is 6. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So my answer would be 6 inches. So there's 6 inches of ribbon left. Again, like, all of these problems are a little different. So just take it one sentence at a time. Draw a picture to go along with it, so it'll help you figure out how to solve the problem. If you can visualize it, you can probably understand it. Alright, we're going to go to number 5 on, this is series 7, page 2. Let's go to number 5. And this is something that we struggled with in the past, like identifying fractions on a ruler, because rulers have tick marks, right? Like, the tick mark's already there. And so the fraction you're looking for might not necessarily coincide with these tick marks, right? There might be more tick marks than you need, or fewer tick marks than you need, potentially. So what you can do is draw your own tick marks to identify it, right? That's what I recommend, is draw your own tick marks, draw your own fraction strip, rather than getting confused by the tick marks that are on the ruler already. It says, which model shows a seed that is 1/2 of an inch from 0? Okay, we want something that's 1/2 of an inch from 0. So blank is 1/2 from 0. Alright, so let's look. Remember, when you're looking at fractions, you want to pay attention to how much one whole is. So a whole is from 0 to 1. It's not from 0 all the way to the end. It's from 0 to 1. That's one whole. Okay, I'm going to make my fraction strip. Now I want something that's 1/2. So I can just cut my fraction strip in half. Alright? And so I know this is the halfway point. This is 1/2 right here. Is this a 1/2? No. Right? So I'm not even looking at all these little tick marks. I mean, if you have a good understanding of what these tick marks are, then great. Then that could help you. But if you don't, if you find yourself getting confused because you're like, oh, well, 1/2, well, there's 1, so it's here. Like, a lot of us just do that. We're just counting to 1 and we stop. But instead, you could draw your own fraction strip and just cut it in half. You know how much one whole is. Just cut it in half, and then you can see, and then you won't be confused by all these little tick marks. You can write in your unit fraction too, and you know, like, okay, this point is not 1/2. This point is actually 1/4, right? Because this would be 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. So this isn't 1/2. This is 1/4. All right, let's check B. Well, B is already past 1. Okay, so we know it's not just half from 0, because we know at this point we know what we're looking for. Just by doing the work for A, you should know what you're looking for, right? You're looking for something that's halfway to 1, and this is not halfway to 1. This is past 1, and now it's halfway to 2. So this isn't half. This is 1 1/2. And let's just take a quick peek at D before we move on to C, which is actually our answer, of course. So again, you can cut it in half, and you can realize once you do that, pretty easy to see, well, this isn't at the halfway point. So this one is actually at 3/4. If you cut these into fourths, this would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 right here, and then 4/4 would make your total. And so, of course, C is indeed at the halfway point. Well, what about all these other little tick marks here? Why are they even there, right? Well, think about equivalent fractions. Well, if this is 1/2, well, what about these big ones right here? These, well, medium-sized ones rather, because the halfway one is the biggest one. So if we think about these, then just instead of just half, you would have fourths, right? So it's 1/4, 2/4, and these are equivalent fractions, right? 1/2 is 2/4. 1 is half of 2, 2 is half of 4. But what about these smaller tick marks here? Well, again, it's like what we always do with fractions. Count unit fraction, count again. If you count these spaces, you've got, now you're cutting your fourths in half, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got eighths here. So if you've got eighths, how many eighths is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 is 4/8, which is half again. 1 is half of 2, 2 is half of 4, 4 is half of 8. Try not to be confused by all these little tick marks in here. It's just showing you different unit fractions, right? But you want to be looking for the unit fraction that you're looking for. Okay, so try not to be confused by all the others, because that's what tends to trip us up on these kinds of problems. So I recommend draw your own fraction strip using the unit fraction that you're interested in, rather than being distracted by all the little tick marks already on the ruler. Alright, let's turn the page. Okay, we're going to do number 3. Then we're going to call it a night. Number 3 says, the table shows the populations of 4 different cities in Florida. We've got Ocala, I never heard of this place, Ocala, 53,491. Sanford is 53,570. Jupiter is 55,156. And Margate is 53,284. Which lists the cities in order from least population to greatest population. So we want something that's going from small to big, right? From least to greatest. So this should be growing. And for these types of problems, you really should pay attention, because sometimes we'll ask from greatest to least, and this one's asking from least to greatest. So really pay attention to the order of those two words, because they'll always have the opposite answer in here. So make sure you know what you're looking for. This one should be growing, bigger and bigger. Alright, so let's compare. And when you're comparing place value. And you really only have to compare one digit at a time. So first, I check my 10,000s place. 555, everything's equal, so I move on to the thousands place. 3, 3, 5, 3. Well, this is the greatest. I've already identified my greatest, so I'm going to write greatest, and I'll put that as a 1, because it's the greatest. Okay, so now I'm just comparing the 3 other numbers now. 3's are the same. I move to my hundreds place. I've got a 4, a 5, and a 2. Well, this is my least. So this is the least. So I'll write that as 4. And then compare the other two, 4 and 5. Well, this is the next least. I'll give that a 3. And this is the second greatest. So that'll be a 2. So from least to greatest, well, it'd be going backwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. So it'd be Margate, and then Ocala, and then Sanford and Jupiter. And I could find that it is the first one, Margate, Ocala, Sanford, and Jupiter. Your answer is A. Excellent. See you next